Good afternoon, everyone. Here we are at Greenwood Cemetery in Eustis, Florida. I am here searching out some of the famous interments that are here. There's a few in the small cemetery in Eustis, Florida, and I just wanted to take an opportunity to stop in here and to pay my respects and to provide a little bit of a history lesson on some of the famous interments that are here. The cemetery has been here since 1885, and it has a lot of individuals interred from that time period, as well as a few famous people as well, or at least somewhat famous, depending on the context of how you look at it. What we have here is one of the famous interments, which is Albert D. Wright. Albert was a Medal of Honor recipient from the Civil War. He was a captain, and he lived from December 10th, 1842 until February 15th, 1926. So a very long life. It's not too often that we come across Medal of Honor recipients, especially from this time period, especially being in such a small town here in Eustis, Florida. But it's I want to take an opportunity to take and pay some respects to someone here.
Albert D. Wright entered the Union Army on August 15, 1862, when he was mustered in as a sergeant in Company A, 149th Pennsylvania Volunteer Infantry. He served with the regiment until April 20, 1864, when he was transferred to the 43rd United States Colored Troops and commissioned as a captain and commander of Company D. He was serving in that duty when his heroism on July 30, 1864, Battle of the Crater, during the Petersburg, Virginia campaign, would see him be awarded the Congressional Medal of Honor. His citation for this act that day simply read, "Advanced beyond the enemy lines, captured a stand of colors and color guard, was severely wounded. He served through the end of the war and was honorably mustered out on April 20th, 1865. He was awarded his medal on May 1st, 1893. The injury that he sustained was a bullet wound to one of his arms, and miraculously, he did not have to have his arm amputated after the event occurred.
As you can see, the cemetery is broken up into two separate sections with a road going between, a throughway going between the two different sections. I originally thought that it was broken up based off of the older interments versus the newer ones, but there seems to be a lot of memorials on both sides of the street that date back to 1885. So it's pretty easy to say that there was a lot of spread out different remains. This is one of the two famous interments here. Another one was a Nobel Prize laureate recipient in the 1970s. So we were still searching for that one. I haven't had an opportunity to find that grave yet, but I am still searching for it. This one had a GPS attached to it, which made things a lot more accessible. However, the other one does not, but that's not going to deter me from locating it. As we walk around, we may take and find a few other people as well besides the two that we came here for. So let's see what we can find. We have a few other ones back here. As we can see, these are from the very beginning of this cemetery. This gentleman here, Mr. Reverend James Wilson and Ellen Gordon, both were Reverend, wife of Reverend Wilson, born in 1829, passed away in 1888. Her husband, born in 1824, passed away in 1890, so she preceded him in death. These are quite well preserved considering the fact that they are 130 years old. It's from Sanderson. William Sanderson, 1865 to 1940, with Louisa, 1870 to not a death date, so maybe she was buried somewhere else. or maybe there was something different, like maybe she was cremated or some other action was taken in relation to where her remains found themselves. Let's see what else we can find. Also, for those of you who believe in the supernatural, there has been numerous accounts of the sound of a female weeping and whining that can be heard, especially in the evenings, that many people have reported hearing coming from the cemetery. There's even been some accounts of apparitions of a female seen laying across a grave. It doesn't necessarily state anywhere as I've looked what grave that may potentially be. However, there is a lot of speculation that it's one of the graves here. If you're wondering to know, is it someone who maybe lost touch with their long lost love in a undesirable fashion, or maybe it's something more than that? I don't know. It's gonna be interesting to see. So those of you who are interested in that type of folklore, maybe you could take an opportunity to come out to this cemetery. I'm still searching for the Nobel laureate recipient, but that one's proven to be a little bit more difficult. Based off of pictures that I can find, their remains are interred in a above ground marking stone to show where they're at. However, it shows a fence in the background, and most of these graves all tend to go in the same direction. So I'm not really sure what this fence is going to be. I'm thinking it may be in the other section across the street, to which I'm going to go to now and see if we can find it. As I walk around the cemetery, I try to pay close attention to the remains and watch where I walk. I feel strange just walking over top of potentially where the person's lying at rest, so I try to walk in between the different sections to be respectful. Also, I try to make sure that if the person whose remains are in the same area that I'm walking in, I try to not show the tombstones or the markings of those who've recently passed on, out of respect for their families that are still living. So many of the tombstones we've been looking at here today have been from those who have passed on 100 plus years ago. It's definitely a quite unique, calm cemetery. One of the interesting things is, surprisingly, this cemetery is actually called a cemetery. A lot of the cemeteries here in Florida are referred to as memorial parks. I guess they want to consider it more of a park than an actual place of final resting for the human remains of the inhabitants of these different towns. But we're still searching for Mr. Swiffer, the Nobel laureate. I believe he's on the other side of the cemetery. I'm going to take one more pass through just to see if I can locate him. If not, then we may have to come back on another day to pay our respects. Stay tuned. So far we've not had much luck. Looks like we'll probably have to take and come back and give it another shot here again soon. So probably do another video coming back to this location. You know, I like to think about it when you go to the final resting places of individuals. The term used by the channel Grimm Life Collective, which is another originally Orlando-based YouTube channel, to use the term cemetery safari. And I really like that term. You know, it definitely really kind of encapsulates what it means to take and to go into these places and to pay respects to individuals that we may not know personally in our own lives or in their lives, but have made impacts of their own right in their life while they were here physically. So I hope you enjoyed this video. We're going to be going to a lot of other places here in the near future. We're going to be doing some filming locations videos as well here very soon. One of which is going to be a famous 1991 film called My Girl. There are some filming locations here and around Central Florida, so that's something we're going to look at. Also, a current National Geographic video known as The Wright Stuff was filmed in 2019 and published in 2020 right down the street from Orlando in a small town called Winter Garden. So we're going to be taking you through those locations as well as try to provide some context to some of the filming locations for those films. So if you enjoyed this video, make sure you like it and subscribe so you can see some of the new filming locations. A lot of other channels have died in some places, and we were going to go there as well. You're going to go along with me on the adventure. But in addition to some of the places that everyone else has been, we're going to take it one step further and to go to some more unique places and provide another lens to the history of Florida and the history of America through history and film. See you next time.